you were not supposed to follow him.
He hit my car!
Okay.
On a seemingly ordinary summer day in Clayton County, Georgia, May 7, 2019, the town unfolded a chain of events that would leave a lasting impact. The day was drawing to a close as Hannah Payne wrapped up her shift at a local property management company. Eager to head home, little did she know that her journey would intersect with an unforeseen incident. Driving through the familiar streets, Hannah approached a traffic light, blissfully unaware of the impending chaos. Suddenly, a red pickup truck careened through the intersection, ignoring the red light, and collided with a semi-truck right in front of her. The sound of the collision reverberated through the air, startling Hannah. A witness to the accident, Hannah instinctively maneuvered her Jeep onto the sidewalk to navigate around the wreckage. Once clear, she pulled over to the side of the road, her civic duty prompting her to call the police and report the unfolding scene.
Clayton County 911, what is the location of your emergency?
Yes, ma'am. I'm actually on Forest Parkway and Clark Howell Highway. And there was just an accident. I'm sure they've already called, but I just witnessed it, and I just wanted to make sure that I guess called the police as well in case they didn't.
Meanwhile, Terry Robinson, an off-duty corrections officer with the Georgia Department of Corrections, also found himself at the scene. He had witnessed the collision and promptly pulled over to dial 911, providing details of the accident and requesting police assistance. As he relayed information to the dispatcher, he engaged with the drivers involved, checking on their well-being.
I'm fortunately hit on a vehicle, and I'm looking at the guy now. He's pretty good. He's moving and everything. But we had a truck that just had an incident with a vehicle. Clark Howell and Forest Parkway.
What kind of truck is it?
It's a semi-tractor trailer, and it's a pickup truck.
A red Dakota?
Yes, red Dakota.
Okay, it's a pit that you want to start it here.
So you need assistance? You got ambulance? Sir. It's okay. See the ambulance? He's not saying anything. So you okay? You don't even know what happened. You fell asleep.
Kenneth Herring, the driver of the red pickup truck, emerged from his vehicle, seemingly disoriented. He explained to Robinson that he believed he had fallen asleep at the wheel. He then began to ask what happened and who had hit him. Kenneth Herring and the semi-truck driver were the only two people involved in the accident. Hannah Payne and Terry Robinson were the witnesses. The quartet patiently awaited the arrival of the police. Despite the visible damage to both vehicles, no one appeared to be physically harmed. As time ticked away with no sign of law enforcement, frustration mounted. After approximately 20 minutes of waiting, both witnesses independently decided to make another call to 911. It was during this second call that Terry Robinson, with a growing sense of urgency, informed the operator that Kenneth Herring seemed impaired and had re-entered his vehicle, seemingly disoriented.
Clark Howell and Forest Parkway. We had a call earlier, and it's been over like 20 minutes now, and no police or no ambulance have shown up at this location. And like I said, it was all a red Dakota and a semi-tractor truck, and none is showing up at this moment in time.
Okay, I just took a call. We already have someone on the way.
The reason why I'm asking that because the driver who caused the accident, I think he's impaired. Something's going on with him. And so the thing about we're trying to tell him to turn his vehicle off and smoke, and he's not following the name. So that's why I'm
20 minutes after the initial report, the situation took a disconcerting turn. Kenneth Herring started his vehicle and drove away from the scene of the accident. Terry Robinson, still on the line with the dispatcher, urgently questioned Hannah Payne about Mr. Herring's license plate number. Though she hadn't obtained the information initially, Hannah declared her intent to follow the red pickup truck to gather the crucial details. The 911 recording captured Terry Robinson's urgent directive, his voice carrying a weight of seriousness as he commanded, "Go."
He's moving his ears. He's going to drive off now. He's driving off. He's driving off. Take a picture of the driving light. Take a picture quick. He's driving off. He's driving off.
Where's he going towards?
Yeah, he's heading towards Riverdale Road. Upper Riverdale Road. That's where he's heading.
What kind of vehicle is
That's
it?
what-
Is that the
the
red
red
Toyota? Give me one
Okay,
second.
good. Go. Now the other driver who was she's going to take a picture of the vehicle. Yeah, he's flooding. He's
How many
an
vehicles
African
were
American.
involved?
Two vehicles. His vehicle and the truck. The truck is still here. The driver, the truck is still here.
Still connected to the 911 operator, Hannah Payne wasted no time. A surge of adrenaline propelled her into swift action as she leapt into her Jeep, determined to pursue Kenneth Herring. In a hurried exchange with the dispatcher, she conveyed that Herring had left the accident scene, unable to provide the crucial license plate information. Undeterred, Hannah assured the operator that she was driving in Herring's direction and would catch up soon. Concerned for Hannah's safety, the dispatcher cautioned her against following Herring. Despite the advice, Hannah insisted on tailing him to relay the license plate information to authorities, if nothing else.
You get his tag number?
Hold on, he's driving away. It's a red Dodge Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
One second, hold on. Okay, so he is going west, down Clark House. No, I'm sorry, down Fort Parkway.
Okay, so you couldn't get a tag number?
No, but I'm catching up to him right now.
Okay, ma'am, we actually do not want you to chase him. We just want you to be safe. And it's
I
not
understand.
to chase him.
I understand 100%. I'm just gonna get the tag number, if nothing else.
The dispatcher, emphasizing the importance of Hannah's safety, reluctantly acquiesced. Closing the distance between them, Hannah managed to relay Herring's license plate information to the dispatcher.
Up to him. I mean, his radiator is busted and everything. I honestly have no idea how he's driving the truck. Georgia has license plate is RHA as an apple 4859.
Okay. So, if you can go back to that location where the incident happened, and because someone is actually on the way to you guys now.
Grateful for the details, the dispatcher then instructed Hannah to cease pursuit and return to the original accident scene. A police officer had been dispatched, delayed by heavy traffic and road blockages. Yet, Hannah, resolute and convinced of Herring's potential danger, declared firmly that she would not stop following him until a police officer arrived. She believed Herring was intoxicated and feared he might cause another accident.
Okay, well, there's a police officer there, but he is drunk. I'm sorry, but I'm here to tell you I'm not going to follow him because he is going to cause another accident. So I will stay behind him until an officer can get to us, but until then, I'm not moving.
Contrary to Hannah's convictions, the subsequent Georgia Bureau of Investigation's toxicology report would reveal no traces of alcohol or drugs in Herring's system. Misinterpreting the dispatcher's intentions, Hannah, driven by determination, saw Herring's vehicle waiting in a merging lane. Without hesitation, she maneuvered her Jeep over the pavement, blocking him in. Witnesses observed a scene unfold as Hannah, seemingly consumed by a surge of road rage, approached Herring's red pickup truck.
Ma'am. Ma'am.
In her hand, a registered firearm. In her voice, commanding orders for the 62-year-old Herring to exit his car. Confused, Herring could be heard yelling, "Who are you? What's going on?" The confrontation, born from a fateful summer day's collision, had taken an ominous turn. In the aftermath of the chaotic confrontation, the echoes of Hannah Payne's demands reverberated in the air. "Get out of the car now, motherfucker," she screamed, her voice charged with a mix of anger and urgency. Witnesses observed in horror as she struck Kenneth Herring while pressing him to exit his car at gunpoint. Abruptly, a single gunshot pierced the tense atmosphere. Amid the aftermath, Hannah picked up her dropped phone, still connected to the 911 dispatcher.
He just pulled the trigger of my gun in my hand while he was...
Ma'am, you were not supposed to follow him.
He hit my car!
You got the tag number.
There's a police officer down the street. Tell them to come up here. He nailed the trigger on my gun after he attacked me. Tell the police officer to turn around from the 285 exit and come up here immediately.
Gasping for breath, she uttered, "Ma'am, he just shot himself with my gun in my hand." Witnesses rushed to aid the victim, questioning Hannah's well-being. "I'm straight, but he ain't," she responded coolly. When asked who had fired the shot, her chilling answer was, "I did."
And now he needs paramedics. I'm straight, but he ain't. I did.
Okay, ma'am.
There's a police officer here now.
Okay, speak with them.
As a police officer arrived at the scene, Hannah calmly handed over her 9mm firearm. She explained to the officer that Kenneth Herring had attacked her, leading her to draw her firearm. According to her account, during the struggle, Herring shot himself with her gun still in her hand. The officer attempted to provide aid to Herring, who remained in his vehicle, clinging to life but unresponsive. Paramedics soon arrived, transporting Herring to Southern Regional Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 6:46 p.m. A police officer at the scene speculated that Herring's reddish-orange eyes suggested diabetic shock. Transported to the Clayton County Police Station for questioning, Hannah recounted the events with apparent composure. She described approaching the red pickup truck calmly, showing Herring her phone and informing him of her ongoing call with the police. According to her, Herring turned violent, pulling her into his vehicle through the driver's side window. In the struggle, she claimed to have drawn her gun, warning him, "I will shoot you." Herring's response, she asserted, was a challenging, "Do it." Hannah maintained that she did not intentionally discharge the firearm.
I got out and I was on the phone. I told him, I was like, "You need to stop, you need to pull over." And he's like, "Who are you and who are you?" And I'm like, "I'm just no one, but I'm on the phone with the police." And that's when I was like right there behind him, like, "Who are you? Who are you? I got something for you." I'm like, "Okay." I said, "I'm just telling you, you need to stop. You need to pull over." And that's when I had this my phone in my hand, and I told him, I was like, "You need to stop." And I'm right there by the door at this point. He reaches out and kind of like hit my phone out and grabbed my wrist. He grabbed my wrist. We kind of started going back and forth, fighting. And that's when he punched the gas and he ran into my tire. And he's telling me the whole time, "Oh, well, I don't know who you are, blah, blah, blah." And I had gotten him off of me, but he had my shirt, and that's when he ripped my shirt. He's pulling it. I have it underneath. Okay. Because I needed that a little bit. He's pulling at it, and that's when I told him, after he's reaching, I told him, I said, "I have a gun." I said, "I will shoot you." And that's when I reached for it. And because I hadn't reached for it and touched for it the entire time, I reached for it, I pulled it out. And that's when he pulled, when I pulled away from him is when, because my shirt ripped. It's not that he let go. I had it out at that point. He was still coming at me, still yelling at me, "I got something for you, you're gonna shoot me, then shoot me, do it. And he went forward on the door, and I pushed it forward with my knee, went back forward, pushed it forward, thinking he was trying to get out. And I told him if it opened or not, but I could hear him grabbing the door handle. I could hear it, just pulling at it. And so that's when I pushed the door forward and he grabbed my hand and we were going back and forth. I didn't have my hand on the trigger, but we were going back and forth and he was holding it and he was twisting it, and then that's when I actually got my grip on it. And he was turning it and it got faced almost all the way around when I pulled it back, and he lunged again, like with one hand on me, and he lunged and he swung and he grabbed, like right here on the back of my shirt. And when he grabbed is when I honestly, I don't know. remember telling myself to pull the trigger. It just...
After collecting witness statements, she was initially arrested and charged with murder without malice, released on a $100,000 bond. However, a review of 911 calls and witness video footage led to her rearrest in June of 2019. The charges escalated to include felony murder, malice murder, false imprisonment, and aggravated assault, painting a more complex and troubling picture of the events that transpired on that fateful day. The wheels of justice faced a significant delay in the case of Hannah Payne. Originally slated for trial in 2019, the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic led to a shutdown of the courts, pushing back the legal proceedings. As the dust settled, Hannah Payne's trial was rescheduled for November 14, 2022, in Clayton County. However, the courtroom was notably absent of attorney Matt Tucker. Judge Shauna Malone was informed that Tucker had suffered a stroke, a claim met with skepticism. Judge Malone openly expressed doubt about Tucker's illness, asserting that there was no clear indication he had actually suffered a stroke. In a bold move, she advised Ms. Payne to seek new counsel, deeming Tucker's representation a disservice. The judge held Tucker in contempt of court, and once again, Hannah Payne's trial faced postponement. Following this legal maneuver, Judge Malone recused herself from the case. In the spring of 2023, Judge Jewel C. Scott was appointed to preside over the proceedings. As the new trial date loomed in November 2023, the state's prosecutors extended a plea deal to Hannah Payne, an offer she declined. Attorney Matt Tucker, despite his earlier legal setbacks, portrayed Payne as a good Samaritan during the trial proceedings. He argued that Payne, far from being a murderer, was genuinely upset by the harrowing ordeal. Tucker contended that she believed in the inherent goodness of people and shot Kenneth Herring in self-defense.
But she's young. She sits there and listens to authority. She believes that people still have good in them. And she comes out with the phone. Hey, I got the police on the phone. You need to go back to that accident. You need to go back. Here.
She didn't go out there trying to kill the person. She's young, Tucker asserted in his opening statements. She sits there and listens to authorities. She believes that people still have good in them. She comes out with the phone. Hey, I have police on the phone. You need to go back here. Only to hear that engine rev up. You hear the engine in 911 and you hear the screams.
Tells the 911 operator, he pulled the trigger on my gun and shot himself. That's the level of audacity you're going to hear. Trying to claim this man would shoot himself.
In contrast, Chief Assistant DA Bonnie Smith for Clayton County vehemently disagreed with this portrayal. During her opening statements, she asserted, defendant Hannah Renea Payne had the audacity to chase, corner, detain, assault, shoot, and kill an unarmed 62-year-old Kenneth Herring who was sitting in his own car. The courtroom drama unfolded as conflicting narratives clashed, setting the stage for a contentious legal battle. In the courtroom, witness after witnesses summoned by the prosecution took the stand.
After she pulled the gun, she shot him and she said, now you need an ambulance.
It was just road rage at the time. And then a woman popped out of the car and she said, get the F out the truck to him a bunch of times. And she pulled out a gun.
The officer came running up. He said, what happened? Who shot? She tried to say that he grabbed her gun, but everyone immediately said, no, that's not true, because that's not true. The man never grabbed her gun. Then he put her in handcuffs.
I was actually traveling past it when I was recording.
She had no remorse. She was just like, she was thugged out. She had no remorse at all. She was so right in that moment. She felt like she had done something.
Each painting a damning picture of Hannah Payne's actions. Their testimony revealed a chilling sequence of events where Payne, in her Jeep, intentionally cut off Kenneth Herring, blocking his truck's movement. Eyewitnesses, present at the scene, recounted the disturbing sight of a 21-year-old Payne aggressively confronting the 62-year-old Herring. They described her yelling at him to exit his car, assaulting him with one hand while brandishing a gun in the other, culminating in a single, fatal gunshot. The narrative unfolded from the moment Payne left the scene of the initial traffic accident until the fatal shot rang out, a period during which she maintained in contact with a police dispatcher via her cell phone. Video footage from a passing witness provided both visual and audio confirmation of the unhinged and volatile encounter. In a stark contrast, defense attorney Matt Tucker called a single witness to the stand, Hannah Payne herself.
When we had both come up to the intersection and I saw him stopped in the turning lane, so I turned as well, and when I stopped, I was under the impression, with me having 911 on the phone, that I could just be kind of like a messenger. So I took my phone on speaker and I took it to him to show him that I had the police on the phone, and I'm telling him they want us to go back to the original accident.
She testified that she believed off-duty corrections officer Terry Robinson to be a state police officer instructing her to pursue Kenneth Herring. When questioned about ignoring multiple pleas from the 911 operator to cease following Herring, Payne justified her actions by claiming she believed she was being advised to follow him as long as she could follow safely.
And the dispatcher tells you, okay, ma'am, we actually do not want you to chase. The first time they tell you not to chase him, correct?
She didn't tell me not to. She just said that they didn't want
I'll
me
give
to.
you that. So they told you that they do not want you to chase him, correct?
Correct.
And what did you say next? You can read it.
I understand.
About the tag number before you make contact with Mr. Herring, correct?
Correct.
And once she gets the tag number from you, she tells you, okay, so if you could go back to that location where the incident happened because someone is actually on the way to you guys now. Is that correct? She's
correct.
Telling you to not continue to follow Mr. Herring and go back to the location. Correct?
No, that's when she told me to go back to the location the first time. She didn't say anything about not following.
What is your response to the dispatch at that
Okay,
time?
well, there is a police officer there, but he is drunk. I'm sorry, but I'm here to tell you I'm not going to follow him because he's going to cause another accident.
According to her account, she sought to do the right thing, but found herself suddenly attacked by Herring, forcing her to defend herself. In the closing arguments, Matt Tucker painted a sympathetic image of Hannah Payne, a sweet and kind person thrust into an unfortunate situation. He portrayed her as a young girl witnessing a heinous crime and attempting to make a citizen's arrest. Tucker emphasized Payne's inability to predict Herring's violent turn and the unforeseeable tragedy of him shooting himself with her gun in her hand. The defense spun the narrative of a citizen's arrest gone wrong. However, Clayton County District Attorney Tasha Mosley presented a contrasting narrative.
And you don't get the death penalty for committing a traffic infraction. You can't poke a bear and then when the bear turns around and attack you, want to claim self-defense. It doesn't work that way. She should have minded her own business.
She depicted Payne as an overzealous young woman who took on the roles of judge, jury, and executioner in the tragic encounter with Kenneth Herring. Mosley reminded the jury that Payne was not involved in the initial accident, which resulted in no physical injuries. Emphasizing that a hit and run is not punishable by death in the state of Georgia, District Attorney Mosley sought to remind the jury of the result of Hannah Payne's excessive and fatal actions. With bated breath, the courtroom awaited the jury's verdict, the culmination of their deliberations lasting just over an hour and a half. The tension in the air was palpable as the foreperson announced the outcome.
Mr. Foreperson, if you would go ahead and read the verdict.
With regard to count 1, as to the offense of malice murder, defendant guilty. With regard to count 2, as to the offense of felony murder, the defendant guilty. With regard to count 3, as to the offense of aggravated assault, guilty. With regard to count 4, guilty. With regard to count 5, guilty. With regard to count 6, as to the offense of possession of firearm during committing guilty. With regard to count 7, find the defendant guilty. With regard to count 8, guilty.
The jury's unanimous verdict echoed through the courtroom, guilty on all counts. As the gravity of the judgment settled, the focus shifted to the next phase of this legal saga. Kenneth Herring's family and Hannah Payne's family delivered impactful statements, setting the stage for Judge Jules C. Scott to determine Payne's fate.
So the court's total sentence is life with the possibility of parole plus 8 years consecutive on the false imprisonment and 5 years consecutive on the possession of firearm during the commission of a felony. And that is the court's sentence.
With the weight of the evidence and the emotional testimonials in mind, Judge Scott rendered the sentence, and Hannah Payne, now 25, faced a bleak future as the gavel fell, condemning her to life in prison with the possibility of parole. The judge appended an additional 8 years and another 5 years to be served consecutively. The ramifications of this sentence meant that Payne, at the earliest, would be eligible for parole at the age of 60. The somber echoes of the judge's pronouncement lingered in the courtroom as the weight of the sentence settled on Hannah Payne. For the first time during the trial, Hannah seemed to grasp the severity of her actions. As the court proceedings concluded, Hannah Payne was escorted out in shackles, her fate sealed by the decisions of the jury and the judgment of the court. In the following days, media outlets buzzed with the details of the trial, dissecting the events leading to the guilty verdict. Opinions sparked debates, and the case became a focal point for discussions on justice, self-defense, and the limits of citizen intervention. Meanwhile, the Herring family grappled with the aftermath of losing Kenneth. The court proceedings provided a semblance of closure, but the void left by his absence persisted. The impact of the tragedy rippled through their lives, forever altering the tapestry of their family. Hannah Payne, convicted on all counts, will spend the next 43 years of her life confined to a small cell within the walls of the Clayton County Correctional Institution in Lovejoy, Georgia.